Let's create a business metric viewer. We are going to work with Python in VS Code along with GitHub Copilot. We are going to simulate our business metric and then analyze it and create some visualizations and a dashboard so that we can present it. So here is the plan. Generate a synthetic metric, do some statistical analysis and create a dashboard. It's a good practice to keep things organized. So I keep my projects in a separate folder. So let's create a new project and name it Python Dashboard Metric Viewer. So once a project folder is created, we can right click and open with code our project folder. So that will open up in VS Code. And right here you can see that there are some options to create a new file. You can select Python file, or because this is going to create a .py file basically, it's also a good idea to do the IPYNB file, which is a notebook file. So for this time I'm going to drop the idea of using a .py file because there are benefits of using a .ipynb file as well, and we are going to go ahead with that. So let's name it metric viewer .ipynb. So this will basically create a Jupyter notebook file, and here it is. So you've got a bunch of options. We can choose Markdown and give some headings as we had planned. So next we are going to use the GitHub Copilot so that we create something for our business metric. Let's go ahead and write our prompt. I'm interested in generating a general business metric over a time period, let's say 3 years, and it should be at a daily level. When you run this, you can see that the AI tool is working behind the scenes and filling up our cell, and now we have the option of accepting this. So I'm going to go ahead and accept it. And if you notice, some of the names here like pandas and numpy, you see these are some of the packages that are yet to be installed because it's a completely new environment. So we're gonna select the kernel here and hit Python environment and create a Python environment. We'll select venv, and assuming that we have installed our 3.12 version of Python on our system, it can be anything else on yours, but that's what we are going to select, and it's going to start creating the environment, and it may take a while. Once it is completed, you'll see that it's going to install IPY kernel as well, because this is probably the first time we are using a Jupyter notebook in the new environment. So it's going to take a little while again. And once it's completed, you'll notice that at the top right corner now it says .venv Python and its version. Down below it is still showing no environment. Not sure why but let's go ahead and restart our kernel. These are the kind of things we might need to do to troubleshoot. Okay, so now let's go ahead and install the packages that are highlighted here, the pandas and numpy. I'm gonna bring up my terminal and here we can install the packages. Just write pip install pandas numpy and hit enter. This is going to do some downloading of the packages, and when ready it will show up the terminal. It will show up a successfully installed message, and now it's ready to run. So I'm gonna run it, and just to check the last two statements right there, it's going to print. Now we are going to analyze and report. So we are going to follow a similar procedure as before. We are going to ask the AI tool, and this time we are going to be a little more descriptive and elaborate in what we want to do. So I'm going to say that use the variables that are present in the previous section, and create a weekly aggregated sum of the metric, and then create a Plotly graph. But why we want to use Plotly, I'm going to tell you that later on. So Plotly is also a different kind of Python package for graphing, so it's a bit interactive and it has some nice visualizations. That's why I would like to use that. I'm also going to use a box plot of each of the week's daily data and be able to display that for each week. So now it is generating the code, and I'm gonna accept that, and you'll see like before it has used some of the variables that are there in the new code. So that's a good thing, and you'll notice that Plotly is showing a highlight because it is not installed yet. So we're going to repeat the process we did before for installing the Python package called Plotly. We are going to run pip install Plotly, and this will take a while to install the package. Once the package is installed, you can clean the terminal and close it, and you'll notice that the highlight for the Plotly package has gone away. So I'm gonna run this code cell, and you'll notice that we are running into some kind of trouble. So let's find out what that thing is. And it says that NB format is not installed. We're gonna find out. Let's say we don't know what this error is about, so we're gonna find out how to troubleshoot, and let's do troubleshooting. So one of my first guess is that perhaps matplotlib, which is also a basic default graphing library for Python, it does not come pre-installed, and I think many of the advanced graphing libraries are built on top of that. So I'm not sure. Let's just make sure that we also install matplotlib. So we got the message that matplotlib has been installed along with a bunch of other things. So let's run it again and see. Oh, we are still having the same issue. So let's try to do something else. Let's install whatever that NB format is. I'm not sure. So here we got the message that it's been installed. Let's clear up the terminal and rerun our code cell. And oops, here we still have the same issue. If you notice that apart from the main error message, there's also a message saying that IPython is required. So let's find out if we have IPython or not. So let's troubleshoot differently this time. And this time I'm gonna open ChatGPT in the browser. We can always use the AI tool right inside the VS Code, but I don't want to use the allocation there because I'm using the free thing. So I'm just going to type in the error in ChatGPT and see what it says. Well, it's simply saying that install IPython. So I'm gonna plug it in and do that. And once it's there, I'm gonna go ahead and try the same thing for the second highlight there for the NV format. But wait, I already installed the NV format, so let's just find out what version do I have. And I have the version 5.10.4, which is greater than 4.2, of course, so it should basically work. And we see that this is still not running. So as my last resort, I'm gonna restart the kernel because sometimes it really fixes the things. This should be one of the first few things when you do the troubleshooting, apart from installing the packages. Let's clear the terminal and close it and run everything once again. And here, this time it really worked. So whatever that issue was, we have fixed it. We don't have to really worry right now about what was the main cause there, but as you saw the troubleshooting steps, a bunch of things you have to try and then it gets fixed. So that's usually what happens. Now if you notice the graph, on the x-axis you got plenty of congestion, and we're gonna clear that out later on, but for just for the sake of the code to work, yeah, it has worked. So next, in order to clear that up, I'm gonna take help of the AI tool once again. I will accept its suggestion and cut and paste the code in the code cell below. Now if you see, your x-axis is a bit clear. Now we will begin exploring our graph a bit, how the interactivity of the plotly graphs enables us to look at the data points. We can also zoom in and zoom out specific ranges here. So for example, here, right here, you can see the box plot and the dots there as well. That's the data points. So the box plots are kind of a visualization offering the basic statistics for the data points. So you can see it has got the median values depicted by the line in between the box. Sometimes the line is shifted down, that is showing the distribution of the data points, right? So you can directly correlate the data points as well as the box plot statistical terms, and all those terms are highlighted when you hover over there. You can also zoom in only by the axis, that's right here, and you can zoom in by the vertical axis. That's not very useful unless you want to do something like this. Yeah, so here it makes more sense, and this way you can interact with different weeks and the data points there and be able to see the statistics on hovering. Now is the time to create the dashboard. So again, we are going to use the AI tool and be very specific about what we need in our dashboard. So again, we're going to say that use the data and the variables from the file, and create a dashboard using Plotly Dash. Now Plotly as a package is one thing, and Plotly Dash is a separate package, right? So we're gonna have to install another package later on, as you will see. But yeah, let's finish writing up the prompt. So this time I'm gonna emphasize in my prompt that I want to see comparisons of different time frames. So that's a kind of a feature that I need in my dashboard, because that's something which usually uh, the business side of the people are interested to see. So we are building the dashboard primarily to present it to the people who are having a non-technical background. So that's why we want to make sure that we have captured some of that functionality in our dashboard. So let's see what it gives us, and you'll see it is creating the predefined timeframes and the code for the dashboard. And you know it can be a bit complicated if you really have to write it down by yourself, looking through the documentation and all, but these are the places where the AI tool really comes in handy. So I'm going to accept the code, and just notice that the dash is highlighted, because as I said, this is going to be need to be installed again. So installing the dash package is going to be the same process that as we did before. We're going to bring up our terminal and use pip install dash, and it will take a while, and when it's finished we are gonna clear the terminal and close it, and we are going to run our code cell for the dashboard. And you'll see that we have just run into some kind of trouble, but just read what's written in the error, that a little part which is also highlighted here needs to be changed. So just do that and rerun. Oh, so you see something is coming up, and that's the dashboard that's coming up right in our output section, and right here it is. So it is showing us a comparison of two sets of time frames in our Plotly graph. That's exactly what we asked it to generate. So I'm gonna play with the different time frames a bit to check some of the data points, let's say from our previous graph. So notice the week 2 of 2021 and compare it with the week 2 of 2023. So as you noticed that this dashboard was coming right in our output section of the Jupyter Notebook file. So that is one good way of viewing the dashboard, but there's another one where it shows up in your own browser, and that is done by just giving some inputs inside the run command. That's where you type in the host and the port number, and if you run it like this way it's going to show up in the dashboard is going to show up in the browser. It will show up in the both places. So you will need to type in the address like this in your search URL, and right here you see that the dashboard is live, and you can just check by interacting with it that it really works very nice. But you need to be aware that this is running on local host, that is it's visible to only you, and right now not really as part of a network. So that's one thing, but it's good for any kind of presentation that you might want to give to somebody else for a cleaned view without showing any code. So that's one good thing for being able to present it this way. And with this, it concludes our session. Thank you very much.